going to be a brief video about Phil Scott from the Advice Show, and just the fact that he loves to promote these false, phony FBA talking points. Phil Scott is somebody that I find extremely interesting. He promotes himself as a Pan-Africanist. He has sort of a Pan-Africanist network. He dibbles and dabbles in African politics, but he promotes these fecal brain assimilationist talking points. Basically, the idea that black immigrants are fleeing their countries for the United States because they're cowardly and can't build and don't know how to organize and basically do the right thing to make it work out in their homeland. Now, this is incredibly ignorant because in the globalized economy, in the 21st century, people move back and forth all the time. If you don't have opportunities here, you go there. If you don't have opportunities there, you go somewhere else. It's just common sense. And for someone to say this and claim to be Pan-Africanist is also really interesting because, as many of you already know, the remittances that the African diaspora sends back home are greater than all of the foreign aid combined, meaning that these Nigerian, Ethiopian, Somali, Sudanese, etc. immigrants are the ones building their country more so than these westernized developed countries who send them foreign aid. And this is an important point because who flees a place that they send money to every month? That doesn't make sense. And again, those of you who know Nigerian immigrants, Sudanese immigrants, Ethiopian immigrants, Somali immigrants, they go back home once, twice, sometimes 3 times a year. Who flees a place and then goes back to that place multiple times a year on their vacations and breaks? It absolutely makes no sense. This is just an idiotic xenophobic talking point that they're using to people who don't really have functioning brain cells. And it's really sad for Phil to be promoting this nonsense because he's allegedly a well-traveled man and he speaks to many different Africans from across the diaspora. I believe that he's located in Houston, which has a very large Nigerian community. And if he was actually communicating with them and actually breaking bread with them, he would know about their real lived experience. It's a world apart from a lot of the fecal brain assimilationist nonsense that we see online. So I really question his motives. It would seem like Phil is actually promoting these fecal brain assimilationist talking points for money to build his channel for AdSense. And if that's not the case, he legitimately believes it, which would be even more sad because it's just completely divorced from reality. See, without this experience that we have within this globalized world where you have different black immigrants from different parts of the planet, communicating, collaborating, organizing, and associating with each other within these westernized nations, you wouldn't have the potential and opportunities to build a greater Pan-Africanist union. And if Phil Scott actually believes in that, then he would support, working together with the African diaspora, regardless of where we are on the planet. And I have to say this, the fact of the matter is African Americans play a role in that as well. And it's a better idea to work together and build together and invest together, regardless of where you're from or where your particular lineage originated. That's better than, working together with these federal informants to promote these contrived diaspora wars. So this is one of those things that we have to make clear about just the experiences of African immigrants who choose to leave the continent and the experience of African Americans who choose to leave America and try to search for better opportunities on the other side of the Atlantic, on the continent. In most cases, it's for the same reasons. And instead of just trying to divide us in multiple different ways, we should be willing to collaborate more and institutionalize our efforts on an international scale.